Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. If you want to find out why almost half the electorate will vote for Donald Trump in 2024, watch this live stream. Hit subscribe to my super chat. I cannot do this without you, ladies and gentlemen, so thank you so very, very much. To my super chat, I don't have $20 million in venture capital funding like some people. If you want to support my work and give an analysis or a viewpoint on any topic, please go ahead via super chat. Your support is greatly appreciated. Eric, DVK, Roger, hello, Dale, Lance, hello everybody. Thank you so very much for tuning in. We have a lot to talk about, and before we get to the Turning Points USA straw poll that had Trump dominate, I'm going to explain exactly why people vote for Trump. I'm going to explain exactly why people want Trump. I'm going to explain exactly why, despite 90+% media coverage, Trump is easily the most important person. He is the Republican Party. There is no Republican Party without Donald Trump, okay? Democrats, even mashed potato brains Joe, would easily defeat Romney. You could have a depression and Romney would lose to Joe Biden in 24. Okay, and it's not even going to be mashed potato brains. It'll probably almost certainly be Hillary Clinton. You heard that here first. But anyway, I did tell you that Clinton would lose to Trump. I predicted the stock market crash and devastating economy we're seeing. But this is why median income hit record high in 2019. Median household incomes hit record highs. They are now $4,000 below 2019 in mashed potato brains America. In the America that Democrats preside over, where they're governing in the House, the Senate, and the executive, household median income is down. Inflation is at 9.1%. Real earnings are down 4.4%, according to the Wall Street Journal. Inflation at 9.1% is going to cause that 4% drop in real wages. But also, ladies and gentlemen, interest rates are going up. But they're not going up. They can't go up to 9%. You can't have 9% interest rates, or else you will have a depression, an economic catastrophe, worse than we're seeing now. So you cannot raise interest rates. It is impossible to raise interest rates enough. It is not possible to raise interest rates enough to actually combat inflation. So you have a situation where interest rates are going up, GDP is declining. Look at the Atlanta Fed GDP Now estimates, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the latest estimate for the second quarter is negative 1.6% GDP. We have two consecutive negative quarters of GDP. That's contracting economy 2 quarters in a row. That is an official recession, ladies and gentlemen. Now, can anyone tell me if the third quarter will be positive? So, can anyone tell me if the third quarter will be positive? Does anyone here in the chat think the third quarter will be positive? Now, if we have 3 consecutive quarters of negative growth, what do you think then happens? What do you think then happens, ladies and gentlemen, to the stock market, to the economy, to earnings? Corporate earnings are going to cause a much greater crash in the stock market than what we've been seeing. And I have predicted this since September of 2021. Now, starting August 1st, I'm going to do 3 segments a day at least on the stock market crash and nuclear confrontation channel, and 3 segments a day on the Bitcoin 10K and crypto crash channel. Okay, those are the new names, and I'm sticking with them for my next 2 channels. So go subscribe. We're almost at 5,000 subs on the Bitcoin Crash channel, and I haven't even done a segment in like 2 weeks. And we're almost at 20,000 subs on the Stock Market Crash channel. We're almost at 197,000. We're almost at 198 on this channel, almost 200. So hit subscribe to all 3 channels. But ladies and gentlemen, What happens in the third quarter? Now, if you ask yourself, okay, Trump dominates 2024 GOP presidential nomination straw poll at turning points. Okay, why did he dominate? Why did he dominate over DeSantis? I love DeSantis. He's fantastic, but he's not DeSantis is not what we need right now. We need Trump again. If anything, we need Trump just to show media, Hollywood, intelligence officials, all of these people with their hysterical, apoplectic, maniacal, never-ending attempts to prevent Trump from running. They can't find a crime. You know how easy it is to find a crime with Hunter or Bill and Hillary? And look, top secret intelligence on servers running outside the United States government. It is a crime to transfer classified data. But again, I don't care now. I just want Hillary Trump 2024. I want every single pundit on the left, the far left. I want the $20 million venture capital people to say, vote for Hillary again. And I want to see who has enough guts or courage, the same courage and integrity that I had in 2016 to tell everybody on my political side, nah, I'm not going to vote for Hillary. I want to see who finally, 8 years later, or 6 years, no, 8 years later, I want to see who finally becomes the H.A. Goodman of 2024. I would love to see the same people who tried to disparage me finally say, oh, you know what? 8 years later, I'm finally doing exactly what H.A. Goodman did, which was the right thing to do. You cannot compromise. You can't reward a political party for cheating candidates. Sorry, it doesn't happen. That does not happen in the Republican Party. It never happened in the Democratic Party before. And when you cheated Bernie Sanders and you still voted for Clinton, that was a big problem. You enabled an immense amount of corruption. But I want a Hillary Trump 2024. I can't wait. And by the way, Hillary Clinton would be much better than mashed potato brains. She'd be a much better president. And the reason I'm saying all of this, I think obviously that Clinton would lose to Trump. But anyway, you heard it here first. But I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, you look at not only that, the world's reserve currency, the BRIC nations, okay, Brazil, India, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they're beginning the early attempt at a new world reserve currency, okay? So when countries loan money to struggling nations, they do so in dollars. International trade, 60% of reserve currency of reserve currencies in countries around the world are U.S. dollars. So what'll happen is, if let's say you're giving a country a loan, you're doing so in U.S. dollars. You're not doing so in that country's currency, which has now been devalued. So the world's reserve currency is the U.S. dollar because it's trusted more than any other currency. Now, here's the problem. Under mashed potato brains Dro, we've tried desperately to kick Russia out of the global economic system. What did they do? They then said, hey, China, hey, Brazil, hey, India, hey, other countries in the world too. If the U.S. doesn't like you, if Western countries don't like you, they're going to try to bankrupt you. So we don't have to deal with this. We're going to start our own reserve currency, and people are going to be trading now in our own reserve currency as you see the U.S. economy tank and the prestige in terms of foreign policy influence around the world has declined dramatically under President Mashed Potato Brains. Okay, and then they say, oh, nobody likes Trump. And I know people did like Trump. Countries around the world respected Donald Trump. They did. That's why he was the first president to step foot in North Korea. That's why he negotiated the Abraham Accords and negotiated the Doha Agreement that Biden completely botched. Those 13 Americans should be alive today. Those over 100 Afghans should be alive today. This is what happens when you have zero leadership and everyone from the New York Times, Washington Post, MSNBC, CNN, New Yorker, New York Magazine, The Atlantic, Time Magazine, BuzzFeed, Daily Beast, Rolling Stone, Esquire, Vanity Fair, Mother Jones, The Nation, all of them, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, the Twitter algorithms, every single possible advantage is propping up the most corrupt political party in recent memory, the Democratic Party. And so that's what happens. You're even going to have the world's reserve currency jeopardized. Okay, let's just look really quickly. So that's the thing. When you look at, ladies and gentlemen, when you look and you ask, G. Corber, hello everybody. When you ask, exactly, Mark. When you ask people, when people ask, well, why would anybody vote for Trump? Look at 2019 before Democrats and people like Andrew Cuomo gleefully tanked the economy. Okay, this is income and poverty in the United States 2019. Look how much better we had it. Look how much better we had it. And look at all the far left. All they have to do is read this article here in the Census Bureau, income and poverty in the United States 2019. That's all you have to do. Median household income was $68,703 in 2019, an increase of 6.8%. Okay, from the 2018 median income of $64,000. We are now down to the 2018 median income. Okay, we are now down to that. Okay, median income in 2022 is down about $4,000 last I checked. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that, but I know it's down. So I could be wrong on the percentage down, but it is down. I know that. Okay, so median income was up at record highs with Trump. That's why people don't care about what Liz Cheney or Adam Kinzinger think of Trump. If you can indict him, go ahead and do so. He'll win in a court trial because he didn't commit a crime, but they haven't indicted him. If you can't indict Trump, then shut your wonderful mouth. Because if you can't indict him, you're just playing politics. Okay, you could easily have indicted Clinton for top secret intelligence on private servers. But again, I want Hillary Trump 2024. You could easily indict Hunter for like a bunch of crimes. I mean, the man is in one video weighing narcotics, and it's like it never happened. Okay, could you imagine if Trump was weighing narcotics? Could you imagine? But anyway, household median income was up under Trump. In 2019, real median incomes of family households and non-family households increased 7.3%. Okay, the 2019 real median incomes of white, black, Asian, Hispanic households all increased from the 2018 medians. And they all decreased this year. Okay, everyone is poorer. Okay, when Democrats talk about the working class, and the far left, again, like there was one YouTuber debating, what's his name? Jordan Peterson. And the YouTuber said, oh yeah, Trump abandoned because there was more outsourcing. It's like, yeah, you're not counting the last year in office when Democrats gleefully tanked the economy. And you're also ignoring the fact that everybody was wealthier under Trump in 2019. Everyone was wealthier. So you have between 2018 and 2019, the real median income of all workers, full-time, year-round workers increased 1.4%. Real earnings are down 4.4%. People are losing money with mashed potato brains, Joe. They were making money with Trump. I will deal with his personality. Get over it. Get help if you can't deal with Trump's personality. Have somebody to talk to. You know, like the New York Times or the Atlantic should open up a 24/7 hotline. People can call up. I can't deal with his personality. I can't deal with Trump's tweets. Calm down. Just, you know what? Here, worship a statue of Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Hillary Clinton. You'll feel better. Just, you know what? You're making more money with Trump. But anyway, just, do whatever you need to do. Just calm down. I mean, you're making more money with Trump. You're losing money with mashed potato brains Joe. It's not difficult. I will deal with his tweets. I will deal with his tweets. I want to make more money. I want this country to prosper. I want all people working class to make more money, not less. I don't want a terrible economy. I will deal with his personality. My God. The 2019 real median earnings of men and women who worked full-time year-round increased 2.1% and 3%. They're now down 4.4%. Okay? They're now down. You are losing money. Remember that old 90s song? I want money. Lots and lots of money. Remember that song? Now we have mashed potato brains Joe took all my money. But at least I don't have Trump's tweets. Who cares? Trump's personality. We need integrity. Who? Mittens Romney. Who puts a dog on top of his car? We need a good Republican. Like Mittens Romney. Who puts Fido on top of the car for 25 hours and wonders why the dog is frozen? Oh, the good Republican. Put doggy on top of car. A good Republican is now a frozen block of ice. Why is the German Shepherd frozen, honey? Because Mitt Romney, Delecto, put it on top of the car, that's why. At least he's not Trump. At least he's not Trump. And then you get these people like, if you vote for Trump, that says something about you. No, if you don't vote for Trump, that says something about you. It says you're rich. If you can afford not to vote for Trump, you're rich. Good for you. You've earned it. Or you were privileged. Whatever. I don't care. I don't care. If you don't vote for Trump, you know what it says about you? It says you're rich and wealthy and you have money. You don't need to, you can afford 10, 12, 13% inflation. Good for you. Congratulations. Congratulations. So, poverty is increased now 14 to 15%. In 2019, it was 10.5%. Thanks, Democrats. Poverty rate increased. Real median income decreased. Inflation increased. GDP contracted, decreased. What is there not to like about Trump? What is there to like about the Democrats in power now? What on earth is there to like? Please tell me. I want to know. I want to know how they pontificate all the time, how they have romantic relationships with foreign spies, which is potentially what happened with one Democrat. And let's not even get into Hunter. Let's not even get it. I don't even it's not that he's paying for it, which you shouldn't do, but it's not that's not really that's not, I don't care. I'm not judging in terms of morality of that. I'm saying you're gonna pay for it from a company that's linked to a foreign adversary, and you're privy to classified data. Okay, no, it's not good. The 2019 poverty rate of 10.5% is the lowest rate observed since estimates were initially published. What was that? We had the lowest poverty rate since 1959. I will take Trump's tweets. Give me his mean tweets. Give it to me. We had the lowest poverty rate in 2019. And then they said, tax return. What they say? Oh, it's tax cuts. Tax cuts. Oh my God, tax cuts. They hurt everyone. We had the lowest poverty rate ever. We had the lowest poverty rate since 2019. I mean, can you see this right here? The 10.5% poverty rate was the lowest since 1959. My God. My God almighty. The lowest poverty rate since 1959. Give me Trump's mean tweets. The lowest poverty rate, and still they can't. It's like unbelievable. And like people look at Trump and they're like, oh, well, anyone could do what he did, but nobody did what he did. The poverty rate for everyone decreased. For Black Americans, 2%. For Hispanics, 1.8%. For Asians, decreased 2.8%. Now every demographic group has a higher poverty rate. But at least Trump isn't tweeting. Don't you understand? Don't you get it now? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if people were doing better. If the New York Times and the Washington Post they don't like Trump's tweets, we must be poorer. We have to be poor. Why? Because we have to save the planet from fossil fuels and then pump fossil fuels back into the economy after we realize that those were horrible policies. Mashed Potato Brains Joe came in. He made it difficult with executive orders for oil and gas companies. And then with executive orders, then what he did was he pumped strategic petroleum reserves. It's hilarious. George Rivera Jr. Dick Morris has been channeling HA lately. ISIS killer is running in 2024. Yes! George Rivera Jr. Starting off the super chat. She is. You can't stop Hillary. You can only hope to contain like Michael Jordan. George, thank you so very, very much. Greatly appreciated. And to my super chat, thank you. I can't do this without you. I think it's going to happen, George. And when it does, I will be the happiest person in all of YouTube. You've no clue how much I want that to happen. George, just the entertainment value. Think of the entertainment. How many people think it'll be entertaining? George inspired me to do this here. How entertaining will it be to see Hillary Clinton versus Trump in 2024? Okay, let's see. George, you inspired me. How entertaining will it be to see Hillary Clinton versus Trump in 2024? So amusing or nightmare? You tell me. So amusing, right? George Rivera Jr., thank you again. Thank you. I hope all is well. Hope you're having a great Sunday. Thank you as always. Yes. So amusing. Yes. I can't wait. Please. It's not difficult for Hillary Clinton to surpass Mashed Potato Brains Joe. Okay? Trump is going to run. He's definitely going to run in 2024. It'll definitely happen. And so, that's right. Very amusing. My viewers and I have generally the same viewpoint on this. Generally. Because they don't have anyone else. They don't have anyone else. And you know, if you look at, we had a 55-year low in poverty. Lowest point in poverty since 1959. And no, actually, what am I saying? 60-year low in poverty. So, so amusing, exactly, 50 votes. So, I mean, it's got to happen, ladies and gentlemen. It has got to happen. But here's the issue, and this is why Trump dominated. Okay, let's just read this really quickly. He got 78% to 19%, and this is why you had such a. So DeSantis is fantastic, but you have to ask, how will DeSantis react to a concerted effort by media and intelligence operatives and like the entire system against him? He might actually react better than Trump. George Rivera Jr., thank you again. DeSantis could possibly react better than Trump. The only problem is, Big TD, hello. The only problem is he's not tested. See, DeSantis hasn't gone up against Strzok and McCabe and Clapper and Brennan and Comey and all of these people. He hasn't been tested. See, DeSantis has not been tested, so we don't know. We don't know how he's going to react when there's a concerted effort. With Trump, he could do things better in terms of touting his accomplishments. We had record lows in poverty. We have a higher poverty rate now. We have lower incomes. We have higher inflation. Our GDP is contracting. But Trump is not promoting, he's not publicizing the differences in terms of economy. He can do better in terms of that, okay? DC, hello. He could do better in terms of in terms of his accomplishments. Trump can do better, but has DeSantis been tested in terms of how he could overcome? Now, honestly, DeSantis might actually do better. Ronald Foos! So many Trump-DeSantis polls, Trump wins every time. That's true, Ronald, he does. There was one or two where I think DeSantis won. It was one of the straw polls, but generally, you're right. Ronald Foos, thank you so very much. Trump wins every time because he had a great economy, and his foreign policy was much better than the foreign policy we see now. Ronald, thank you so very much. Ronald, George, thank you again. Both of you, thank you so much. To my super chat, thank you. That's true. If you're going to poll, and this is the thing, when the New York Times, the Washington Post looks at Trump, they look at a caricature of Trump. The media does not look at who he is. They take his, oh my goodness, the Roz Rodriguez. As long as I can, I will always support all your work. Thank you so much. Keep it up. Thank you. Thank you so much. The Roz Rodriguez, you are so wonderful, and I do appreciate your support always. And you've always supported this channel, and I'm just so honored and thankful. I can't thank you enough, the Roz Rodriguez. Thank you so very much. And I hope, the Roz Rodriguez, you'll be here for midterms. We're going to have a fantastic, fantastic live stream. And it's going to be fantastic. We'll have the House and the Senate go Trump Republican, not Paul Ryan, 20-pound dumbbell Republican. The Roz Rodriguez, thank you so much. Thank you. The Roz Rodriguez, thank you so very, very much. Have a fantastic Sunday. And I think this week is going to be very good. The Roz Rodriguez, thank you again. I can't thank you enough. Ronald, George Rivera Jr., we're going to have a very good August and September. The Roz will have a good August, September, October. And I don't know if you remember the 80s, ladies and gentlemen, where it was like, Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Muscle car. It'll be like a car like jumping over like 25 trucks. Or no, it'll be like, Evel Knievel type, But it'll be November. Democrats get politically, if you want to talk about politically in the House and Senate, obliterated. You will see people like Herschel Walker win. I don't think pundits understand how Herschel Walker, how many people in Georgia love Herschel Walker. If you are in Georgia Let me know. What do you think of Herschel Walker? I think that he's fantastic. So the Roz, thank you again. So sweet of you, so kind of you. Thank you so much. I can't do this. These live streams without you, the Roz Rodriguez and George Rivera Jr. and Ronald and everybody here. So thank you so very much. When I bring up the $20 million venture capital funded people, they got $20 million from venture capital. And then they're the socialists. It's really hilarious. Our American socialists get millions from venture capital, which is basically the definition of capitalism or the epitome of capitalism. But you know what? It's like looking forward to August, September, October. The Durham probe next trial is in October, and I know people are going to say, you know what? Nothing's ever going to happen. Nothing's ever going to happen. And it's like, you know, it's like that. That is. Hold on 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, 1 second. 1 second. I have a technical issue. Just 1 second. 1 second. Hold on 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. 1 second. 1 second. All right. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. So, anyway, so Herschel Walker, thank you, Valerie. Herschel Walker is Herschel Walker is a hero in Georgia. Okay, everyone loves him. So the polls don't really understand that. The polls don't really understand that, and it's like you cannot poll people without asking them, hey, are you a fan? Were you a fan, or do you think that he's a legend or an icon in Georgia? You can't that has to be part of at least a question there. So there should be a poll as to pertaining to how many people think he's a legend and still won't vote for him. I think that people don't realize how much of a change the average person wants. People want to change. They're tired of this. They're tired of the terrible economy, and the economy is only going to get worse. If you look, Trump just has to stay out of his own way. That's it. He just has to stay out of his own way. It's not the recession we're in, ladies and gentlemen. That's not the issue. The issue is not the recession that we're in, okay? The issue is not the recession that we're in. The issue is the third quarter. And if you're not looking at the third quarter and the fourth quarter of this year, how are things going to go? How are things going right now? So we're in the third quarter now, August, September, and then October, November, December. So, are things better now in the economy? They're not. If the third quarter is down, tell me, is the economy going to grow this year? Will the economy grow this year? Will we have? I'll give you a And the Roz Rodriguez, thank you so very much again. Thank you, the Roz Rodriguez. Will we have 3 consecutive negative quarters? Oh shoot. I'm writing a message instead of the here. I need to ask everybody here, will we have 3 consecutive negative quarters? The Roz Rodriguez, what do you think? Ronald, what do you think? George Rivera Jr., what do you think? Will we have 3 consecutive negative quarters? That's the question. I mean, has anybody ever asked that question? I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, okay? Has Robert Reich or Paul Krugman asked that question? Has anybody asked that question? Falvey Pollard! Straight up, dog. Thank you, Falvey Pollard. Falvey, are we going to have 3 consecutive negative quarters? Falvey, thank you so very much. Straight up, dog. Thank you. Thank you, Falvey. I hope all is well. Because if we have 3 consecutive negative quarters, then will we have 4 consecutive negative quarters? If we have a year of negative growth, okay, then my question is, when will things get better? When will things get better? If we have 3 consecutive quarters, you're looking at a tremendous stock market crash. Much more. The Dow, like I've been saying, is going to go way below 30,000. All of this up and down is just trading because corporate earnings haven't completely tanked. Corporate earnings are eventually going to decline much further. Inflation is going to get worse. If inflation gets worse, see, this is the problem, okay? You have interest rates going up as inflation goes up, okay? Inflation has increased. Interest rates have increased. Now, the administration, mashed potato brains, the White House is saying, oh, well, look, gas prices have gone down. That's a momentary decline. That's a momentary decline. It'll go back up. Oil and gas will go back up in price when winter rolls around. When winter rolls around, it'll go back up in price. And so, when winter rolls around, gas prices and oil and gas prices will go up in price, okay? And the Roz Rodriguez and everybody here, the question is, if we have 3 consecutive quarters, what happens of negative growth? What happens to the housing market? What happens to the housing market? What happens to the bond market? What happens to the stock market? Crypto is already going to implode, okay? Coinbase, all of these companies, a lot of these companies that are like big companies are going to just implode, okay? But you have a situation where if you have 3 consecutive quarters of negative growth, the question remains, well, when will positive growth take place? Okay? When will positive growth? If you can't see the economy moving back up, and by the way, you can't blame 2 years ago, which was self-induced primarily by Democrats and media and the experts in the room. Housing sales are plummeting. Interest rates are going up. And if you have housing sales plummet, you have interest rates go up, you have the housing market crash, and you have the stock market that's also going to, I mean, you saw what happened the last time the housing market crashed. Now, it might not crash that hard, but what's the next AIG or Lehman Brothers? Okay. Valerie, exactly. Dana, hello. And it's like, Where's the optimism? Is there any optimism left in this country? The only optimism is get Trump Republicans in the House and Senate and make sure that Mashed Potato Brains is impeached numerous times for lying about Hunter's business deals and for other issues also. I mean, you can't sell strategic petroleum reserves when we need that in this country. Okay, they say, well, it's just a commodity. Yeah, and that's what they said with uranium one. It's just a commodity. It's like, well, yeah, if it's just a commodity, then why have you banned sales of oil and gas from one country in particular? Okay, it's not just a commodity. Okay, that's why they're banning Russian oil. It's not just a commodity, it's a geopolitical issue. That's why you don't want to sell oil right now to a country that could possibly invade Taiwan, who, by the way, when you have a global currency reserve status that is being threatened by an alternative reserve from the BRICS nations, then you have the possibility that Taiwan is invaded, and who comes to the defense of China, Russia, and other countries? Okay, that's not that difficult. They've also been stockpiling gold for the past 10 years, those two countries. Why have they been stockpiling gold? Okay, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, why do you think those two countries, why do you think the two of our greatest geopolitical rivals have been stockpiling gold for the past 10 years? Okay, because they're trying to, an alternative currency, global reserve currency, has been in the works for a long, long time. It's not the first time that they've decided to do this. Exactly, Ronald, I think so. Exactly, I agree with you. The Roz, thank you again. The Roz Rodriguez, thank you so very much. George Rivera Jr., thank you as always. Thank you. Exactly, Tammy. I think that we're in a recession, and it's a possibility that we could have a depression because, layoffs are not far away from now. Like, once inflation continues and people and companies can't charge high prices anymore. So companies have been able to pass along the inflation to the consumer. Okay, that's because the federal government and the Federal Reserve have pumped in $10 trillion into the economy. Democrats, media, experts, bureaucrats, never Trumpers had no problem pumping $10 trillion into the economy and just shutting down all economic activity. They didn't really care. Okay, they did not care. They were told we had to shut down economic activity, and they did so. The problem, however, is that we're experiencing the repercussions of that. We're also experiencing the repercussions of Biden's administration with executive orders combating climate change without viable alternatives to oil and gas. So when you have no viable alternative to oil and gas, and oil prices go up because you've made it more difficult for oil and gas companies to operate, and you think you're virtuous for doing so, then you reverse course, and then environmental groups are suing Biden now. But, oh yes, by the way, I will have a live stream tonight at 8:39 p.m. Pacific, so be here, everybody. 8:39 p.m. Pacific. Drain, hello. Yes, 6 or 7 quarters. I don't doubt that. I mean, I think that we could very well see 4 quarters of negative growth. I think 4 quarters of negative growth. Again, we might then have maybe some maybe like 0.5% or 0.5%, 0.2% economic growth eventually. I don't see us rebounding quickly. So, Paul Bartlett, hello, Paul. Paul Bartlett, hello. Stephen, hello. So, negative 1.6%. Now, Biden's approval, check this out. Mashed potato brains is underwater in 44 states. Okay, we only have 50 states, so and you better believe the 6 states. Here, 44 states. The 6 states are like the bluest of blue states. So this is terrible for midterms. Absolutely terrible for midterms for Democrats. So here, let's see. Wow. Wow, it's interesting. Look at this. This is interesting. This is like a really interesting interactive. Negative 51. Net approval of negative 51 in North Dakota. Negative 33. Negative 53 in Wyoming. So you wonder, does Liz Cheney have any chance? So negative 20 in Florida. Negative 22. Negative 30. Negative 36, negative 13 in Georgia, which is bizarre to me. Like I don't get that. I do not understand how people in Georgia aren't as unhappy with this current president as other states around them. Negative 22, negative 20, negative 35 in Tennessee. Now 2%. This is hilarious. This is hilarious. He's only has a 2% net approval. What? How is that? So he might have he basically has a negative approval rating in New York because if you don't have media propping him up, he has a 7% approval rate. You know what? It could have been better. We could have had a more forceful economic depression. And he's only up 5% in Massachusetts. He's down 3% in Illinois. And this, I know, I can tell you right now, it's not 9% in California. It's up though, but it's not 9%. So, I mean, you have to understand the mindset is as long as Trump isn't tweeting. So the 6 states here, Maryland, he's barely up. He's not even up in Delaware, which is hilarious. He's not even up in Delaware. New Jersey, he's down 5%. So Massachusetts, New York, Connecticut, he's down. Vermont, he's up in Vermont. So this is horrible. Oh my God. Oh my God. And by the way, this is with media. Like Trump had a negative approval rating. So Tennessee, let's see. Trump had negative 35%. That sounds pretty low. Oklahoma, negative 41%. So you look, ladies and gentlemen, and it's like, you have a situation now where you have entire states that can't despise this man. Now Trump was doing much better. Okay, and you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where Trump was doing much better in more states. Much better in more states. Negative 51, negative. So it's like, so you're close to like 90, close to 80 plus 75 to 90% of these states disapprove or dislike Trump. I mean, dislike Biden. So they can't stand Biden in almost every state in this country. And you have to ask yourself, if you have only a 2% approval rating in New York, you got a big problem. You're down in Oregon with Portland. You're down in Washington with Seattle. Okay? And Portland is a small city, relatively small city compared to Seattle's a little bit bigger than Portland, but you have negative approval ratings in the Northwest. How on earth is that possible? Mashed Potato Brains has negative approval ratings in the Northwest. Okay? And it's like you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where it's not looking good. It's only going to get worse too. And so media is going to try desperately to disparage Trump any way possible. But they have the ability for them to create and fabricate and foment outrage is dwindling every day. They've reached a point of diminishing returns. So the more that they yell and screech and condemn, the less they get from it. They're not going to be able to continually just condemn and screech and pontificate and yell, because there's nothing much. The only thing they've ever truly had is that they don't like his personality. That's it. And when your argument is you don't like Trump's personality because of he's immoral, and then you look at Hunter and you look at Joe, who's been accused of much worse than Trump ever was accused of, and so who actually said, if you can debate that, but then he actually said much worse. Like, if Trump told Charlemagne the God what Biden stated, it would be game over. I mean, they wouldn't, he would be condemned beyond belief. Biden has stated far more prejudicial statements than Trump. It's just that media focuses on whatever Trump said. They focus on everything negative that Trump has ever said, and they sensationalize everything. And so it's like, that would be a different person. But so most Democrats don't want mashed potato in 2024. Approval rating of 31. His approval rating is lower than Trump's lowest approval rate. Trump's lowest was at 36 or something like that. I think his lowest was 35, and that was media induced. D'Artagnan Valentino, hello. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I was at the World Series in 2002, Game 6, and saw the Angels. The Angels come back against the Giants. And it was one of the most amazing... Henry, hello! Exactly, Henry, hello. I saw the Angels come back against the Giants, and I was watching. They took out Russ Ortiz, who was a very, very good pitcher, and who had a shutout at that point. And they took him out. And then, thank you, Barbie, hello. Then, Duke Chronic, hello. Then the Angels came back, and they scored, I think, 4 runs in 2 innings. I was hugging people I didn't know. People were going nuts. Dana, hello. People were going nuts. It was amazing. Scott Spezio hit a home run. That home had to be one of the great. Honestly, there are like unsung heroes in World Series history. Jim Leyritz is one of them. Scott Spezio. I mean, you know, Kirk Gibson's is like the greatest home run of all time, but Scott Spezio hit a home run, and you had Troy Gloss and Garrett Anderson also with key hits, and they came back. I was also at Game 2, by the way, and the Angels won, of course, the World Series in '02. I was at Game 2. I saw Barry Bonds. So I went to 2 World Series games. Barry Bonds I saw him hit a home run off of Troy Percival. It left the stadium. I'm not joking. It was the hardest hit baseball I've ever seen in my life. It left the stadium. You could see it on YouTube. Dale, remember that? You could see it on YouTube. It left the stadium. I'm not joking. It was like this. It left the stadium in about a second. A Major League Stadium, in 1 second, it left. It was a laser out of and high and up. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I will be back for Free Reign Hello. Be here at 8:30 or 9 p.m. Pacific. I also have articles on, you can look at my uploads, go to the description. I have articles on Barry Bonds and Floyd Mayweather. And exactly, Ronald. And Dale, exactly. I have articles on, I wrote columns on Barry Bonds and Floyd Mayweather. Read those articles. I think you'll like them. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Lisa. Dana, you'd love it. It's awesome. I will be back, ladies and gentlemen, at I'll be back at 9 p.m. The Roz Rodriguez, thank you so very much. So kind of you. Have a fantastic, fantastic Sunday and a great week. And I will see you all. And George Rivera Jr., Ronald, everybody here, D'Artagnan, thank you so much. Thanks, Eric, everybody here. I'll see you at around 8:39 p.m. Pacific.